What's up, viewers, and welcome to another episode of Cheers Reviews. I'm your host, Jimmy, and today we're looking at the Fender Dimension Bass 4. For those that caught last week's episode, would have seen that I gave this bass a seriously deep and thorough clean, as my good friend dropped it off to have a bit of a day spa. Feel free to check out that episode. I'm going to leave a link in the description and the iCards above. They'll be picking up their squeaky clean bass in a couple of days, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to dive into a pretty rare and wacky bass. Fender first introduced the Dimension nameplate in 2004, which doesn't appear to have much resemblance to the bass that we're talking about today. One thing they do have in common is the active preamp, which we'll go into a little bit later. This model here is from 2013 and shares quite a few design cues from a range of different basses. I'd love to hear what you guys think, but personally, when I first looked at this bass, I thought that the single humbucking pickup reminded me of that classic Musicman Stingray style bass. The pickguard kind of reminds me of those Line 6 Variax basses, and the body sort of has a jazz bass style shape with the offset bottom. And the neck resembles more of a modern C-shaped precision bass neck. Not sure if that's what they were going for, but overall I think it's a perfect storm for a pretty cool bass. Jumping into specs, we've got an ash body, maple neck and maple fretboard, single humbucking pickup, a Fender Hi-Mass Bridge, and a 3-band active EQ. Hidden deep inside the gig bag was the original control diagram, which will really help when explaining the bass today. So diving into the EQ, from left to right, we've got the bass EQ, the mids EQ, the treble EQ, and finally we've got the master volume. For each of the active controls here, it allows you to cut and boost to your desire. The center has a little bump in it, so it easily allows you to find the flat spot in the EQ. This particular bass was made in Mexico, but they did have USA versions of the Dimension bass from Fender. And when doing a bit of research on this bass, one thing I did find out is that they came in a Squire version as well, which I thought was pretty cool. And as well as that, they also came in a 5-string bass in Fender and Squire models. So let's have a bit of a play and a listen and see what kind of sounds we can get out of the active EQ. I'm gonna leave the volume at full the entire time, and I'm gonna run a combination of the active EQ between the 3 bands, where boost means that the dial is fully turned clockwise, cut means that the dial is turned fully anti-clockwise, and flat is where the dial is in the middle, on that little bump that I was talking about earlier. Anyway, I hope that's clear, and without much further ado, let's see how it sounds. Alright, let me know what you thought in the comments below. There's just so many tones that you can get from the active EQ, so I just chose a handful of my favorites to show you. I'm personally so disappointed that Fender decided to stop making these, as it's a truly cool and unique bass which stands up to its humbucking rivals. And it's also a big shame that the Squires are out of production. I would have loved to have seen how they played. And as well, I feel like if it was at the classic vibe price point, it'd be a really cool addition to someone's collection. And that someone is me. But back to this bass, due to its high quality materials with the ash body and the Hi-Mass Fender Bridge, it feels like a really well-made instrument. And I'm a big fan of natural finishes on basses in general, especially when they've got a black scratch plate. And I think that this example looks just awesome. I'm gonna get some close-ups of the beautiful grain popping through the ash. Anyway, thank you so much for checking out the Fender Dimension Bass 4. And if you want Fender or Squier to bring this bass back, let them know in the comments below. And if you like today's video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see weekly bass related content, go ahead and smash that subscribe button down below. But until next week, take care, and I'll see you next time.